Welcome back to Deck Tech for Decks. I'm your host, Caleb. We are getting a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle set, and we're going to talk about it today. Some of the cards look lackluster, but I'm actually excited for a couple of them, and we got a new partner mechanic, so we can pair Ninja Turtles up with each other to kind of make weird combination of decks. And anytime you can do that, it kind of breeds brewing creativity, so I am here for it. So without further ado, don't forget to click on that whatnot link and claim your free $15. Get 10% off all of your Tellurian Library proxies whenever you use code DT4D, and then we can get right into it. I'm now sponsored with Baron of Dice. This means you guys can get 5% off whenever you guys use the code DT4D or click the link in the description down below. I'm a huge fan of the awesome art on their deck boxes and just the way they look in general, and you can pair up those awesome deck boxes with high quality playmats that match those deck boxes. Thank you, Baron of Dice, for sponsoring this channel. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is Donatello. This is a 3 CMC creature, 2 generic, 1 blue. He says if one or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus a mutagen token is created instead. Now, a mutagen token is basically just a token that you can pay 1, sacrifice it, and put a 1/1 counter on a creature. I like this mechanic because this is actually going to allow you to utilize those creatures that don't get a lot of use, that actually want you to put 1 counter on them at a time instead of just dumping a ton of counters on them. It's an archetype that doesn't get a lot of love, but there's a lot of broken creatures that can abuse this, like the Mothman, right? The Mothman was a commander that utilized all of these effects that want 1 counter put on them at a time, and we just know how powerful that is. So I'm excited to have another archetype that can really abuse those cards. He also has the character select ability, which again means you can have 2 commanders if they both have this ability. So again, a new partner ability. Leonardo is also one I'm super excited for. This is a 4 CMC creature. He has Sneak, which is essentially just ninjutsu as I understand it. He has Double Strike, and during your turn, you may cast a creature spell with power 1 or less from your graveyard. If you cast a spell this way, that creature enters with a finality counter on it. I love this for our Hydra strategies, right? Now we can cast just straight up Hydra spells from the graveyard, and I'm sure there's a lot of other really useful cards we can abuse with this. We can also just kind of lean on the fact that we can use solemnity effects to make sure that they never enter with that finality counter, and I'm sure there's really busted stuff we can do with this guy. I haven't looked into it yet, but I'm positive there's some weird combo-y stuff we can do with this guy for sure. We also have Leonardo the Balance, which is actually a 5-color commander. He's 3 generic and then a white, and says whenever a token you control enters, you may put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Do this only once each turn. Now, this is going to be very powerful, especially with the effects that allow us to generate 1 token per turn, like our smothering type effects. We can very easily ensure that we're at least going to get 1 token, and that's going to put a total of 4 power on our entire board state every rotation. I think this is going to be a very, very powerful card. Additionally, we can pay Wooburg, and it says creatures you control gain menace, trample, and lifelink until end of turn. So not only does he have like a game ender on him that gains you a ton of life, he also has a reliable way to buff up your entire board state. Again, I think this guy can be built very, very strong. Michelangelo the Heart, this guy is 2 CMC, 1 generic, and 1 green. This guy says at the beginning of your second main phase, if you attacked this turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature, create a food token. Now this is again going to be very good with that strategy that wants you to put 1/1 counter on the creature at a time to get insane amounts of value. And I think that's the way this set is taking. Instead of putting a ton of counters on a creatures, we just want to put 1 counter at a time on a creature. And we're going to talk about some cards that really abuse that later on in the video, so maybe we pick them up before they spike in price. Maybe they get reprinted in the set though, so buy at, your own risk kind of scenario. But I just want to go over some cards that really abuse these 1 counter at a time strategy. Raphael seems solid as well. This guy is a 6 CMC commander. He has Menace, which is important because his other ability is whenever Raphael deals combat damage to a player the first time each turn, untap all attacking creatures after this combat phase. There is an additional combat phase. Again, the way this is worded is we can trigger this per opponent, right? So we attack 1 player, extra combat step, next player, extra combat step, and then the last player, we also get an extra combat step. These effects are pretty broken. He is 6 CMC, but it's probably worth it because this guy does a very, very powerful thing. Raphael the Muscle. This is another Raphael card. This is a 5 CMC 1, 4 generic, 1 red. It says double all damage that creatures you control with counters would deal. Then he says when Raphael enters, create a mutagen token, and then he also has character select, the new partner mechanic. This also leads me to another card I want to talk about, Raphael's Technique. This is essentially just a very good card if we can activate it for its sneak ability. Now it's 6 CMC, but it says sneak 3 CMC, Now again, Sneak is, you may cast this spell for its sneak cost if you also return an unblocked attacker you control to its hand during the declare blocker step. So again, kind of like a ninjutsu thing. Basically just ninjutsu, but this is on an instant, and it says each player may discard their hand and draw 7 cards. So you get Wheel of Fortune if you return a non-blocked creature. I think that's going to be very, very strong. We already know Wheel of Fortune, very strong card, and this just puts it on an instant that gives you a little bit of a hoop to jump through, but honestly, that hoop is easy to jump through. So I think this could see a lot of play. I'm going to play it for sure. We're also getting a new Kindred commander with Heroes and a Half Shell. This guy costs Wooburg. It has all of the Ninja Turtles on it, and then additionally it says Vigilance, Menace, Trample, Haste. Whenever one or more mutants, ninjas, and or turtles you control deal combat damage to a player, you get to put a 1/1 counter on each of those creatures, and you get to draw a card. So this can be a very, very powerful Kindred deck for all of those turtles. I've seen some very bad turtles decks, and this is going to make them pretty decent. It can be a mutant Kindred deck. It can also be ninjas. This has the potential to be very, very strong depending on how you build it. Additionally, just cloning this, and that is also going to be a mutant ninja turtle that also gives you the ability to put even more counters on your creatures and draw even more cards, could be very, very strong. I mean, cloning the Kindred commander's always been a good idea, and it's not going to stop being a good idea in this deck. But I mean, this was probably just put in there for flavor. You can probably put all of the turtles in here. You can probably put a lot of other mutants in here as well. I think there's going to be a lot of crossover between this set and the Fallout set. The Fallout set had a lot of very strong mutants, and this is just going to be a set that cares about mutants and 1/1 counters, and the Fallout set kind of cared about 1/1 counters as well. So maybe if there's a few Fallout cards that you see synergizing with these, we should pick them up now before they might rise in price. And remember, even if this gets released, some of the mutant cards rise in price, they'll eventually come back down after the hype come down. That's usually what happens here. So you can wait, but also, you know, if there's one you're just like, I need this for this deck, maybe go pick it up. Now let's talk about some of those cards that are really going to be broken with this set. Danny Pink, I talk about this guy all the time, but he's not going to stop being broken here. He is $13 already, but I think he could go up with this set. He has Mentor, which is whenever this creature attacks, you get to put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature with lesser power. And then additionally, he says creatures you control have whenever one or more counters are put on a creature for the first time each turn, you get to draw a card. So again, this works really well when you're trying to put at least one counter on every creature once per turn. You get a ton of card advantage this way. You basically just draw cards equal to your board state. And if we're playing that deck that wants us to do it on our opponent's turn as well, it can just be an insane amount of card advantage. You might deck yourself, but decking yourself is kind of equal to winning the game, am I right? Fathom Mage is pretty cool as well. This creature has Evolve, which means whenever a creature with bigger power enters the battlefield, you get to put a 1/1 counter on it. And it says whenever a 1/1 counter is put on Fathom Mage, you get to draw a card. This is really good with those mutagen tokens, because now we just sacrifice one of those tokens and boom, we're getting solid card advantage. Maybe that's not good enough for you. Maybe you want a board state. Then you have Herd Baloth. This is a 5 CMC creature beast that says whenever a 1/1 counter is put on Herd Baloth, you get to create a 4/4 green beast creature token. So now those tokens can be turned into straight up. But I'll leave the question on to you guys. Are you guys excited for this set, or does this kind of just feel like the Spider-Man set and you're not excited about it because it's not Magic? Personally, I'm waiting for more cards to come out before I make my decision, but right now I'm just excited for more Magic cards and brewing more decks. With that being said, hope this helped you in your deck building endeavors, and I'll see you guys in the next one.